Today's episode of The Unwritten Rule is presented by FanDuel. It is the Vanderbilt preview. Missouri Vanderbilt college game days coming there, much to apparently a lot of people's chagrin, which I think is crazy. And we kind of talked about that a little bit with Kenny and Payton. Also previewed the game. I'll give you a quick odds rundown over on FanDuel, how you can bet on this game here right now heading into the weekend. Missouri, 2.5-point road dogs. Vanderbilt, the number 10 team in the country, favored at home. The over-under is set at 53.5 at the moment. Over-under on Missouri's first half points is 13.5. Total points, 25.5. If you want to bet on the defense to get a touchdown, it is plus 700. Still haven't had that yet today. They finally got a turnover last week against Auburn. Missouri to score every quarter, no, minus 280. Yes, plus 210. A parlay I looked at and liked, and this goes into the prediction that I said later with Kenny and Payton, is Missouri, taking Missouri at plus 2.5 and the under 53.5. You can get that at plus 253 as a same game parlay. So I liked that one for this game. Should be a really intriguing one. We talked all about it. Kind of the matchups, the quarterbacks with both these games, how each defense might attack the other. Vanderbilt's really good tight ends and some other players to know on their side as well. And then just obviously the implications of this game with it being on game day, another big flashpoint for Missouri's season. How they've handled the week, been pretty quiet. Is that a good thing? We kind of thought so. So, had a really good conversation just about the game, and then we gave our score predictions as well for Mizzou Vanderbilt. Quick hits, talk some Mizzou hoops, talked about a big move for Mizzou gymnastics as well. So some fun stuff coming up there. And then we struggled to name the offensive line from that iconic photo of the really, really good Mizzou offensive line from the early 2010s, which is a little embarrassing, but is what it is. Good show coming up for Mizzou Vanderbilt, previewing that game. And then we will have a recap. Keep you posted on if we'll have a Saturday one pending. We shall see. But we will for sure be back Monday and talk all about it. So enjoy the game. Enjoy the show. We'll get into it. The Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Peyton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule, presented by FanDuel. Today is Friday, October 24th. It is roughly Thursday, October 23rd, around 4 p.m. We're recording this. It's the Vanderbilt preview. First of all, the three of us are back. Kenny was traveling, seeing the sights. How was your travels, my friend? I know Grandma Clara's dying to know.
Yeah, I was in Chicago, so not too far away, right, Peyton? From Ohio?
It's like 2 states away.
That's 2 states away. It's a little bit closer. Yeah, that's where Grandma Clara resides.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I thought you were thinking of
no,
Peyton
it's
here.
not too far. I mean, I made that. I didn't drive. I was a baby. That would be weird.
Baby driver.
If I drove that.
Your dad took a nap, but you drive.
Baby
no,
driver.
I sat there while my parents drove me. We made that drive a fair number of times. So I don't know how long it is, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, Peyton hijacked
easy to
my
say when I'm
story.
a toddler eating Burger King in the back seat, but
now you're an adult eating Burger King in the back seat.
I never eat Burger King. You're the Burger King.
It was good. I enjoyed it. Got to see Wrigley at 2 a.m., which was
all right. Are you done? Can we go
into
the preview now?
Yeah, we can go with the preview.
Wow. Thank you, Kenny. I was curious as to your whereabouts. So yeah, we're all back. We're gonna talk Missouri against Vanderbilt. Fellas, this should be a fun one. College game day is going to be there. It is at 2:30, right? Or 3:45? Did I get the time wrong? I forgot to write
2:30.
It is 2:30. 2:30, Missouri Vanderbilt. ESPN game day is going to be there. It is
unfortunately.
A little bit unfortunate for Missouri. It's going to be in Nashville. Nate Bargatze's the guest. We talked about
no,
that.
Jack. Unfortunately for college football fans, It's going
Oh,
to Vandy. They should go to the FCS game that everyone knew existed a week ago. Okay.
what game is that?
Why are they not going to North Dakota State, South Dakota State? I'm outraged. Okay. How could you do this
Oh.
game day? Go to the FCS game, please. They go to another SEC game. Never mind that it's Vanderbilt, Missouri. Go to the FCS game. We're all super pumped for the FCS game.
Jack, take control of the show, please.
No, I that's fine. I didn't know about the FCS game, but I would agree that I don't know why people are mad about that. This is a huge game, I think, for both teams. And I guess let's just roll into it. And Kenny, Payton, I'll ask you guys this, kind of gauging where you're at, because obviously it's been a few days since Missouri's win over Auburn. Kenny, we haven't talked to you since before that game. What is your guys' kind of pulse reading of Missouri headed into this? You know, we'll get into some Vanderbilt stuff, but just, you know, with Missouri, with this game, it feels like everywhere I read, everywhere I listen, I was listening to oh my gosh, I dropped my phone. I was listening to a Vandy pod earlier, and you know, they were even saying it on there, like it just feels like this is going to be an even game. Where's your guys' feeling with Missouri? We've had an injury report come out, no drama there. It feels like it's been kind of a quiet week a little bit leading up to such a big game here.
Can I want to go first here, Peyton, if that's okay. Yeah. Talk about the injury report too. First clean injury report. I mean, outside of two guys are out for the season since week 1. I mean, this is a team that entered the season really healthy. There weren't like any issues, any guys they were worried about. And then Logan Reichert got hurt like right before the start of the season. You lose Blake Craig and you lose Sam Horn for the entire year in the first week. So outside of that, I mean, the team looks great coming into it. I want to know like your thoughts on this one, Peyton. I like that they're really leaning into the something to prove mantra, even Bohr in this game. I thought, Drinkwitz's comments about, he was asked about game day, first time game day has covered Missouri in 11 years. And, he answered right back to Zach Sweet of Columbia, Missouri, who asked the question and said, where's the game? Is the game is it at Memorial Stadium or is it in Nashville? The game's in Nashville. He doesn't care. I mean, this is something I thought was very interesting of, yes, there's a lot of national recognition around this team. Missouri had its chances to have game day, come to see him. Heck, it took, 5 years or 6 years for SEC Nation even come back, and they came back twice this year. We were freshmen in college last time SEC Nation came to watch Missouri play. So from that point of view, I really like that. I like, we even brought it up again just on the SEC teleconference, that even though College Game Day will probably want to do a little bit about Missouri into this game as well, going to be probably primarily focused on Vanderbilt. And I think that's a good, chip on your shoulder that, Missouri might have opportunities to host game day, have all this national recognition. But if you play into the underdog mentality, you're going to light a fire underneath your team. And this is like one of those things I think you're really tapping back into that 2023 identity that Missouri had that really proves something. Going back to the something to prove and winning the Cotton Bowl that year. And I think that's a big thing to have, big character to have for this game. And I do like where Drinkwitz is kind of directing his players in that sense.
I'm very glad you mentioned that because that was going to be how I responded to Jack's question as well. I think Drinkwitz, so far, we're recording this, like Jack mentioned, on Thursday afternoon. No foot in the mouth quotes, no silly little... I didn't have a problem with the Kalen DeBoer thing, but no, Drinkwitz sticking around to ask coaches questions about their apparel for Saturday. Drinkwitz is locked in, it seems like. I think it's because he realizes he's got a real opportunity here. They've had opportunities the past 2 years. I mean, A&M was a real chance to kind of stamp your name as a real contender last year. You got destroyed after a embarrassing week leading up to it, and no one took you seriously again the rest of the year. Had a chance for Alabama. It was close. There was no real drama leading in, but you still missed that chance. But this is, I mean, like you said, game day is coming to town for this one. Vanderbilt is as good as we're probably ever going to see in our lives. I'm not trying to be mean. I really am not. I cannot. Drinkwitz is saying they don't even want to talk to us. The spotlight is absolutely going to be on Vanderbilt. And I don't have a problem with that. Believe me, I think Vanderbilt is the story of the year so far. I mean, the job Clark Lee I was always pretty high on Clarkley. I think Kenny and I both were. The Vandy teams always had a bit more of a tougher field to them under him. It's good to see them kind of get the wins the last 2 years. They're an unbelievably cool story. They really are, and they deserve this kind of shine on them. But I think it does kind of play into Drink's hands a bit because he is clearly doing the whole like Kirby Smart thing where it's like nobody in the world actually believed Georgia was going to go 7-5 a few years ago. But Kirby Smart made that team believe it. And if Drink can really make Mizzou believe that they are just kind of the sideshow this weekend, they're not really the reason game day is coming to town, and it kind of is the reason. I mean, I am just being realistic with it. I think you're going to get the best version of Missouri potentially if they really go out there and believe it. I mean, Missouri has somehow found a way to get to 6-1 after the last 2 weeks having just been thrown completely off who they want to be offensively in particular. And they have a real opportunity. I mean, everyone has already said it. I mean, we're kind of belaboring the point at this point. The winner of this game this weekend is in the driver's seat to make the college football playoff. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I mean, Missouri has a bye week right after this, and then A&M at home right afterwards. I'm being genuinely serious. If Missouri has a chance in their next 2 games, and they can't look past Vanderbilt at all, because Vanderbilt is very, very good. Last year they were solid. This year they're legitimately like borderline great. They have a chance to really almost punch their ticket to the playoff these next 2 games. It's all right in front of them. This is not the biggest opportunity under Drink. I think that the Cotton Bowl was a big proving ground for them. I think last year's A&M was up there. Alabama this year, I think, was the chance for Missouri. But this is a big, big moment for this program. And like you said, the both of you kind of mentioned, I think we're in for a slugfest that's going to be pretty even. But it's exciting. I mean, it is cool to see this kind of game out of these 2 opponents.
With that Texas A&M game that you brought up too, Payton, one thing that Drinkwitz mentioned in his press conference this week, he was kind of worried about how his players would respond to just being stomped by the Aggies on the road in a game that they've, tried to light a fire under themselves and kind of, said the wrong things at times too about the atmosphere. And then you had the blanket situation with DeWeese, and Drinkwitz turned to Zion Young after that game, and Zion was like, heck, coach, I've only won 4 games in my college career, something to that extent. I've been here before. I mean, there's no other feeling. I know how it feels. Just turn the corner and you have the same mentality tomorrow, the better mentality tomorrow, which you've seen all along. I mean, it was like the talk of the week is about Zion Young just because of how he performed in that Auburn game. And, Josiah Trotter says he's always talking. If you hear someone talking at 8 a.m., it's Zion. You just know it's him. He's just trying to create energy. I think that's a big positive for this team is that you'll definitely see that something to prove mantra probably right away on the defensive side of the ball. And it's still crazy to say. I mean, we're going to get into it more here in a second, but to just say Mizzou is the underdog against Vanderbilt, a team that's ranked higher than them. I mean, this is an awesome matchup from every point of view for college football.
Yeah, you guys took the words right out of my mouth. I think this is absolutely a flashpoint in Missouri season. I think, there's still some stuff when I look at, the likes of like Arkansas at the last game of the year that they feel really frisky. But if you win this game, even not even looking ahead to Texas A&M, you give yourself an opportunity if you can even go 1-2 in that A&M Oklahoma, duo of games, as long as you don't screw up those other 2. I mean, that is the playoff right there. So, you afford yourself another mulligan. So I think you guys are both right. And again, to go into it with Vanderbilt, it feels like 2 teams, like Payton said, it feels like it's going to be a slugfest. These 2 teams are good at a lot of things. There is not, and I think Missouri's last 2 weeks kind of dings them in this regard, that there doesn't feel to me to be one distinct thing that either team is like super great at and has continued to lean on. Like Missouri, you could say the running game, but that's, gone away the last 2 weeks. And last week they managed to win the game without it. So, I want to ask you guys about these 2 quarterbacks because, this is a guy, I was doing my little blue chippers list for myself for Vanderbilt, and Diego Pavia is the first name I threw on there. He's the stat I saw, and shout out, Kenny, I know you guys over at Mizzou Today interviewed Will Byram of The Door Report. I used his like know your foe thing for a lot of these little numbers, and he pointed out Pavia's completion percentage is up. He was just under 60% last year. He's a little over 70% this year. We know what he can do with his feet. And then you have Bo Pribula, who we also know what he can do with his feet. And where I'm going with this down the rabbit hole, I was watching a little bit of Vanderbilt's highlights against LSU and a guy in Garrett Nussmeier who's very different from those two quarterbacks in terms of how he played. And one thing on the Vanderbilt pod I listened to that they pointed out was Vanderbilt got pressure in his face all the time, and he stood there and made throws. He didn't make mistakes. That kind of worries me when I look at Bo Pribula with this Vanderbilt pass rush. And then you look at him against a guy like Diego Pavia, who, I feel like can improvise a little bit too. But I also go to the Alabama game that Vanderbilt lost, where he made mistakes in that game that cost them. So I think it's an interesting outlook with both of these quarterbacks. And then you factor in just how good Vanderbilt's defensive line appears to be, with Missouri coming off a game where it struggled against a very good Auburn one. I don't know if you guys have thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am going to have to say people may not like it, but if this game comes down to which quarterback is going to have to win in a throw-off, advantage Vanderbilt, no doubt about it. Pavia is such an unbelievable playmaker. I mean, his numbers with when he's blitzed are not fair. I don't have them right in front of me, but I saw it on Twitter. It's not natural how good he's been against the blitz. So I don't think, again, Missouri's not a team under Batoon that blitzes a whole ton. They kind of did towards the end of the Auburn game because that Auburn O-line and Jackson Arnold just straight couldn't handle it. But it's going to be a game where Missouri's going to have to get pressure with its front four. Now, they're great at doing that, but this is a unique Vanderbilt O-line. They do the whole switching sides thing. There's not like a true set O-line that goes left to right. It's interesting, but like you mentioned, Jack, I mean, Vanderbilt grades out super solid on its D line. They're good against the run. They like you said, they got a lot of pressure last week. LSU's O-line, I think, is weaker than Missouri's, but it is a good D line, no doubt about it. But I would say I think Missouri faced arguably, because I'll say arguably because A&M has a great D lineman in Cassius Howell. OU is a great pass rushing team, but just top to bottom, run and pass, maybe you could make the argument Auburn was the best, most complete D line they'll see all year. So they should kind of know what's coming. Bo Pribula, I thought, got better against the blitz as the game went on. He made a few really nice plays. The 3rd and 10 in overtime was a really, really big time throw to me. But I mean, there were a lot of missed reads with Bo Pribula. I think Bo Pribula is still very much a one read and run guy. He's not making a lot of completions to his second or third reads or anything like that. So if Vanderbilt can get in his face, kind of make him just force him to throw to his first, take away his first option and get some pressure, probably going to be a struggle for Missouri's passing game. I think it's really, really maybe the most important thing for Missouri to get its run game back on track. I think Vanderbilt's a bit more doable to do it against than Auburn. I'm not disrespecting Vanderbilt. Just Auburn's D line is just monstrous. So we'll have to see. But I definitely don't think Missouri wants to turn it into a battle of the quarterbacks.
And building off of that too, with what you said about Diego, and I think the one positive from Mizzou's side is that Mizzou will be the only team to ever face him 3 times. I mean, they've watched Diego Pavia, turn into the quarterback that he is. They've watched him turn into a Heisman candidate right before their eyes. They played him when he was at New Mexico. They played him in the SEC last year. I mean, Auburn will get a 3rd shot at him later in the season. So, I mean, there's teams that have seen it before. So I think that's one positive for this defense and just this staff. I know there was a switch at defensive coordinator just in that time too, and just, players and staff, but there's still a lot of familiarity with this quarterback. And I think that kind of comes with it. The question always gets tossed around. I mean, how do you defend a dual threat quarterback. I mean, at this point, that's just a game of college football. Mizzou has won. They faced Jalen Daniels. They faced last week, at Auburn as well, and even go back to South Carolina as well with Lenore Sellers. I mean, there was just dual threats all over the place. It's just with Diego Pavia, I think it's a little bit different. I think he's a little bit more dynamic. Drinkwitz mentioned, how much of a magician he is at running the ball as well, just the angles he takes, the ways he can find space and free open and make space on his own. I think that's going to be one of the challenging things. And so I think from that, a big thing that comes out to me is the linebacker play. I think the linebacker play and at the star position will be big in this one. How will they be able to stop that? How will they be able to stop these tight ends? Because Eli Stowers, as Josiah Trotter pointed out, probably the best tight end that they'll face this season. He started his career as a quarterback. I mean, he's a very smart player. He was a 4-star quarterback commit to Texas A&M, ends up now as a tight end at Vanderbilt after a stop in between. And I think you're looking at a guy that's, their best pass catcher, but he's a big bodied tight end. And, how will the guys that maybe have struggled a little bit in the middle of the field match up with a tight end like that? How will they incorporate the star position in that if they need a spy in the same sense? I think this is a very interesting kind of dynamic of where this kind of defense looks, because I don't think they've really been in a spot necessarily the exact same like this season.
Yeah. I want to
Go ahead,
I want to follow up with that because, I mean, they not only just Stowers, who I think is not only just one of the best tight ends, maybe one of the best players in the conference. That dude is a beast. I mean, they've gotten Cole Spence, their other tight end, going as well.
I wrote his name down. Five catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown against LSU. He's 6'7", also.
Big time player. I think that's a great point to bring up, Kenny. I mean, how Missouri kind of defends. Like the biggest pieces in this game might be the linebackers on that side of the ball. I mean, Corey Batoon is going to have a lot of decisions to make, like Kenny said. Who is going to cover Spence and Stowers? If you're going to have them covered, who's going to go up and maybe spy Pavia? Do you even spy Pavia? I will say I do trust Batoon to kind of get that figured out because, I mean, the few times Missouri has played like good rushing quarterbacks this year, they've done a very good job against them. I mean, Daniels was probably one that gashed them the worst, just with a couple longer runs, and he still finished with 10 carries for 25 yards. Sellers, I think he might have finished with negative yards on the ground. 10 carries for negative 28 yards. Of course, these include sacks, but I mean, that's still like you're mitigating that kind of threat. Arnold, 17 carries for 14 yards total. So Missouri's done a really good job, and none of those guys had really huge days throwing the ball either. So they've done a good job in that regard. Obviously, I mean, I think Sellers is when he's at his peak, the most talented one of the quarterbacks they've played. But Pavia is probably end-to-end just the most consistently good player that they've played in that regard. So it's a different challenge, but that is interesting to bring up, Kenny. I think the way they move guys like Khalil Jacobs, Trotter, Dalen Carnell around when they gotta defend 12 personnel or keep Pavia, just make sure his legs aren't a threat. That's going to be a big game of chess for Batoon to play.
Yeah, the tight ends piece is definitely interesting. I wrote Spence and Stowers down as guys that I'm going to definitely watch. I didn't realize this too. Stowers preseason, I think he was a first team All-American preseason at the tight end spot, which is impressive. I know he's been a good player.
Great player. Really,
and then the other piece too is with Pavia is, he is so creative and smart, is that, when you do get him running around and it feels like a play is broken, he's able to either pick up first downs with his legs or find some of these, these other targets. I mean, they have two decent receivers too. Junior Sherrill's their lead guy, 304 yards and 5 touchdowns. I wrote his name down. Trey Richardson was the other one. I know he had a big punt return against LSU. Kenny, I think Byram described him as a burner. So he's someone that can beat people down the field. But again, I think this Mizzou secondary, which, has been, I don't really know what to feel, because in every game that I felt like they could get gashed, whether it's by a running quarterback who they let escape out of the pocket and they get lazy and the guy's wide open down the field, or, even against like a Ty Simpson who just has a million weapons, they didn't necessarily give up, a crazy amount of explosive plays. They were helped by Auburn they were helped against Auburn by a couple drops. But I think that's another piece too, is they have some kind of true playmaking receivers. And I think that the secondary is going to have to keep its discipline, because Pavia is the one guy that when a play feels over, it's not, whether it's, him picking a first down with his legs or finding a receiver open. I go back to the Alabama game last year when they picked up, I think it was a 4th and 1, and he kind of rolled out, and all of a sudden a guy was just streaking down the field and beat a corner, and he saw him and found him and scored a touchdown. So, he can turn kind of nothing plays into something plays, which is, to Payton's point, what Mizzou has prevented well against some of these running quarterbacks. But I think that has to keep going. And yeah, the tight end linebacker matchups will be very interesting, because they definitely have not faced a duo of tight ends that are as good as these two. Although against Alabama, I was impressed. Josh Cuevas is a good tight end for them, and he was pretty quiet. But that's obviously, they play a very different style from Vanderbilt. Other thoughts on this game?
There's two things I think are really, really crucial. When you look at both of these third down offenses, they are two of the best offenses in the country on third down. Vanderbilt is second in the country in percentage at 55.7. Missouri is sixth at 53.5. So it's going to be really, that could be the game there. I mean, who is making plays on third down? Can Missouri force Vanderbilt into kind of third and longs and make Pavia have to drop back and beat them through the air, or vice versa for Vanderbilt? I mean, are they going to make Bo Perbula have to throw? I think that's a crucial one. I really don't think Missouri can play from behind in this one. Vanderbilt got the lead against LSU last week, and really, the LSU looked like they were on their back foot the whole game. I mean, Vanderbilt did a really, really good job of playing with the lead. That's not a position I want to see Missouri in. Now, again, we've had to see these last 3 years, even Missouri has had to do that plenty of times. But I really think it would behoove them to just try anything, just force Vanderbilt into a field goal even on their first drive and counter with 6, or vice versa, score 6, hold them to a field goal. I think you're going to be in a good spot there.
I think I'm good on, just like previewing this game. I just had kind of one fun thing that I just read too. We're going to get into it a little bit more in quick hits about this being game day, but do you guys know where Reese Davis, originally kind of, petitioned for game day to go this week? And you have to think about it. One of these teams was ranked, but it's not ranked anymore. So he originally thought this would be a good matchup until one of these teams lost this past weekend.
Not Ole Miss. Georgia? No. It's not a power 4 matchup.
Oh, Memphis.
Memphis. Yeah.
Memphis, South Florida was his. And he said like 11 years ago, they did it on Beale Street and they shut down Beale Street. So he was very excited for that. And then, of course, they weren't going to go there after UAB beat Memphis.
Yeah. That I thought that could have snatched game day as well if Memphis had won.
It probably would have.
The American's been insane.
And it probably should have if it had, because I mean, those are two actually very good teams.
I just was going to I like to just put names. Like I said, I've got my chippers list, those defensive linemen and linebackers that I wrote down. Miles Capers is their sack leader, 4.5. Zylan Wood, 3. Corday, I think is how you say it. Corday Sidnor. Sorry, Corday Sidnor. I couldn't read for a second there. Has 2. They have a cornerback also. I read Martell Height, who they sometimes use on offense. So that's kind of interesting. Little Travis Hunter guy there. Langston Patterson, he graded out to a 90.8 in run defense. So Payton, to your point, if there's a guy in kind of that second level that you're going to look at with Ahmad Hardy, it seems like it's going to be Patterson. Brian Longwell's a good linebacker, 28 tackles. And then their leading tackler is a safety named CJ Hurd, whose nickname is the Sea Snake. And I read it was because of his flowing blonde locks. I don't really know what that has to do with snakes, but there you go. That's my half-assed internet research of Vanderbilt's defense. But yeah, I think you guys make good points. Payton, what you said with the LSU game, where like it kind of went back and forth and ended up being, I think, a lot more high scoring than people thought. That's what makes me hesitate like when predicting this game. But I do feel like these teams are just so similar. They want to play a very similar way. I mean, we didn't even bring up like I think the third downs will be big, and that will lead into this piece as well, which is the time of possession and the amount of plays and stuff like that. I mean, both of these teams want to absolutely control the game. I mean, Missouri has done that to some insane degrees in their wins earlier in this year. Vanderbilt can absolutely do that too. And I think, yeah, it feels like, you get that first touchdown, you can kind of set that tempo. Is this a game where Missouri, I think you said it, Payton, for Alabama, is this a game where Missouri wants to receive the opening kickoff? Maybe go down the field and set that tone. I don't know.
I say no.
No? Okay.
I'm with you.
I think I thought for Bama it was a little different. I'm almost never in favor of that, but that felt different. And it worked out for them. They got the ball first against Bama and really had their best drive of the game, but it was almost too fast. I do hear you though, like on that time of possession thing. That's clearly how Missouri wants to play. And in addition to being good on third down offensively, they're pretty damn good at on third down defensively as well. I think Batoon has done a good job of helping, and it helps when you have the two pass rushers. You do. I mean, that you could argue it's one of the best duos in the country in Wilson and Young. Going to be crucial for those two to just make Pavia uncomfortable. But even if they do, I mean, Pavia's shown he is perfectly fine playing with a little bit of pressure on him. So,
all right, let's do predictions. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Gosh, what a cool matchup. It's going to be cool to see game day at Vanderbilt, Missouri, and to really believe that it truly deserves it.
I think it's fun. The FCS.
Yeah, they should have gone to the FCS game. It's really fun to see that these two teams are on this stage, and it feels like it's going to be a great game. Again, I feel almost sick I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I am going to predict Missouri is going to win a game like this. I think Missouri is going to win this game 31. I'm going to say they're going to win how Vanderbilt won against LSU, 31-24 for Missouri. I think Vanderbilt will take an early lead, even though I said I think Missouri really should not let them try to do that. I think Vanderbilt's going to do it anyways. I think Vanderbilt gets up 24 to let's say 10 at one point. Missouri comes back and wins.
By the way, I said it in the intro. The line in this game has not moved all week. It is Vandy 2.5-point favorites at home. The over/under is 53.5 on FanDuel. So you say it one more time for me again, Payton.
31-24 Missouri.
31-24 Missouri. That is plus 8,000. I think that's the best odds for a correct score, Payton. Well done. At least that I've seen.
Yeah. From my point of view, I did all my predictions at the beginning of the year, and so I've always just kept them on the dock, and the ones I put in italics are the ones that I've changed. So I changed mine from the Alabama game. For this one, though, I was a little bit more bullish of Missouri coming into this one. I didn't really expect Vanderbilt to do this. Even in my little preview of my blurb I wrote for this game, I said Vanderbilt is not the pushover, from years past. It hasn't been for a while. This game is going to be, a little bit closer. I still said 42-27. I'm going to drop that down. Ooh. I still am in a spot where Missouri is in it. Like, coming into this game, I'm telling you, I don't know. I haven't been this confident about a Missouri team in a while. And that could just come back to backfire for me. It's just Vanderbilt's just going to, hold on to Mizzou and just do what they want with them. And it's just what's going to happen. But I think this one's 28-27 in favor of Missouri. I could see it going either way, but I really think there's an edge for Missouri in this one. I think they'll really lean into it.
I hear you, Kenny. This is probably as confident I've been in Missouri since they beat Tennessee in 23. I mean, that win last week felt like it was just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And somehow, with absolutely none of how they wanted to play working out, they came away with a win in one of the most hostile environments in college football. I feel you there. I am very confident, which means Vanderbilt will run for 300 yards on Saturday. But
So you said
And then we'll talk about Ray Davis.
28, 28, 27 was your pick, Kenny?
Correct.
Plus 12,500, which is actually still on the lower side, but it's not as good as Payton's. I'm all over the place with this. I really like what you guys are saying. And for some reason, the more we have talked, the more I almost want to talk myself out of picking Missouri, even though I picked Missouri preseason. I thought they were going to lose one of the Auburn Vanderbilt duo. I picked it to be Auburn. Auburn has turned out to be a lot more of a mess than I thought they could have been preseason. I'm still going to stick with Missouri. I truly want to believe that with how quiet of a week this has been, with Drinkwitz not doing the shooting himself in the foot thing, that Missouri is truly locked in. Again, Clark Lee has had this Vanderbilt program feisty for years. Drinkwitz, I don't think, has ever overlooked them. He is undefeated against Vanderbilt. I also think, and again, I don't want to take this as a knock to Vanderbilt fans. LSU did this last week with how they traveled. I think there's going to be a lot of Missouri fans there, which I think is a little bit of a factor. But I have weird feelings with this game, which is why I'm actually going to pick it to be kind of a stinker. I'm going to pick Missouri. My final score is going to be 20-17. I think this is going to be. I think this is going to get kind of weird and ugly and gross. That's kind of where I want to go. I don't really have a super logical reason why, but I just wonder if Hardy and Cedric Alexander, who we didn't even talk about for Vanderbilt, they're running back, and Pavia are just trying to run, and both these defenses are pretty solid. Maybe there can be a couple takeaways in this game. Let's go with the slop fest on ESPN at 2:30. That actually is also plus 8,000 on FanDuel as well.
Oh, you just found the one that tied you with Payton. I kind of realized
I didn't do that.
The whole point of these, like, we're trying to beat each other, and I'm not really going to point it out, but I'll point it out. I have 5 wins this year, and Payton has 2, and Jack, you have 1.
Yeah, I won all of them last week, in case no one said that.
Wouldn't it just make sense to just choose 6 points every single week? Like, I feel like if just depending on where you picked in between us 3, I feel like 6 might be the safest if you're just trying to win, because we're not really going to hit it right on the head on what the score will be. I mean, Payton, you were very close last week. Yeah, I know. So am I. I'm just going to do that, but I feel like there might be a game here, a more logical one, if we're trying to actually win these.
Yeah, this is why I'm glad you pointed that out, Kenny. This is why you shouldn't listen to me with my score predictions, because I'm always wrong. Clearly, I'm not even close whether Missouri wins or loses. So
Payton was really close last week. He was only 4 points off.
Yeah, so listen to Payton, and you get a 31-24 Missouri win. There you go.
No, you get let's say 27-24 is what it's actually going to be.
Yeah, somewhere in between there. Or just off 4 points off of his score.
It feels so weird picking Missouri to win. After A&M last year, I swore to myself I was never going to pick Missouri in a game that felt like a real moment in time again. Because I picked Missouri to win last year by the same score. Oh my God, I'm changing my pick right now. No. Vanderbilt is going to still lose, but Missouri's going to win 27-24.
So now it'll be tied
I'm not
at 24.
putting that energy into the world. No way. That was such an embarrassment. I just swore. I was like, I'm never picking Missouri in a game like this again. 84-0. I was so mad. I
remember that.
84-0.
Like what Jack did, 83.
I know.
That was a smart play.
Yeah. I still didn't get it right because Kenny
was just was more realistic.
I mean, we were talking about UMass after the most embarrassing week in 3 years. I was just like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
84-0.
I'm still thinking about Vanderbilt. I don't know. This team is really, really, really good. And
any Vanderbilt fans that are looking through every podcast ever for analysis,
first of all,
genuine respect. I have been a Clark Lee fan for years. Even back, people forget there was a year Clark Lee went 5-7 a few years ago.
Yeah.
And there were a ton of good players. I was like, this is a legit, Clark Lee has them going the right way. And then they went 2-10 the year after, I think it was. But I mean, still, there were great players. I mean, I've been a fan of what Clark Lee has been doing for a long time there. I'm glad that a game like this gets that kind of spotlight.
You want some Vanderbilt love? Here you go. After this game, They are at Texas, home against Auburn, home against Kentucky, at Tennessee. That's not that bad to end the year for them. Home against
I
Tennessee,
think they'll beat Texas.
road
I
against
really do.
against Tennessee will be tough. But if they beat Missouri, and if they beat Missouri, I'm going to pick them against Texas, Auburn, and Kentucky, no doubt, and probably Tennessee too. So
Yeah, I think they can really. I think they could blow out Texas. Truly.
yeah. All right, that's your Vanderbilt preview. We have some more Mizzou stuff we're going to talk about on the other side in quick hits. Enjoy the game. Okay, quick hits time. Thanks, Kenny and Payton, for that rapturous applause. That's so nice. You guys like me so much. Jerseys of the week, Kenny.
My jersey of the week, or pajamas of the week, goes to Max Scherzer, who's advancing to his, I think this is his third World Series in his MLB career. He's not going to start game one, though. The game one starter was already announced. It's the rookie Trey Savage, who started the year in single A, which is kind of crazy. But we posted this photo, a very iconic photo, if you're watching with us on the YouTube, of him and his son, or I believe that's his son, in their Mizzou pajamas, watching something on an iPad, and looked like it went a little nuclear. We got a pretty long comment on this one as well. I'm not going to read it. I'm kind of confused where it's going.
I'll read it. So what you're saying is an extra year Mo wouldn't give him was a mistake after all. 2 Cy Youngs, 2 no-hitters, and 2 world championships, including 1 elimination game against the Cardinals later. I would say it was indeed a mistake. TLDR, bruh.
Were the Cardinals after Max at one point?
I don't know.
I guess.
Payton, do your jersey.
From St. Louis.
My jersey of the week is going to be Zion Young, who had the very, very notable coin toss, just kind of jawing at the Auburn players. And he was rewarded with an SEC defensive lineman of the week after having 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss.
Sackles.
3 solo tackles and 5 total. He backed it up, and he's going to be crucial for a win this weekend as well. So,
my favorite thing about these is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, those 2.5 tackles for loss, 2 of those are just the sacks, right?
Yeah, this is your favorite thing. You love that PFLs and sacks are just the same stat.
The same thing. And then 2 of the 5 tackles are sacks. 2 of the 3 solo tackles are sacks.
He is right. They're not different stats. They are all one thing.
It's always one of my favorite things. Because he also had 2 hurries, which I think would also probably fall into some of those sacks.
The hurries are
different.
Hurries are different.
Yeah.
Because they don't have hurries.
Are different than sacks.
Hurries, I think it like counts. You get them out of the pocket, but because they could still complete a throw or do something. I think. So I don't know. My jersey of the week is Bo Perbula. He was added to the Manning Award watch list. So shout out midseason awards. I don't know that he'll win this one, but good to see him at least get on there. Again, Kenny's criteria. Well, there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there, Payton. You've got your Dante Moores, your Fernando Mendozas. It's some tough competition.
You're saying Bo's not good?
No, not at all. I just, it's tough. It's a good year. It's a good year for quarterbacks.
I like no cap, and he's the
anyway. Shawnee Spainbird of the week, Kenny.
All right, let me land this bird. The bird connection. So my bird is Ahmod Billins. He's a class of 2027 cornerback. Yeah, it's like the pulse check right there on what you're doing for me. He's from Abbeville, Alabama Christian Academy, and he's coming off a win, again, a 34-14 win this past Friday against Fort Dale Academy. Thank you. Recording here on a Thursday. This thing for Ahmod Billins is that he's going to announce his commitment on Saturday around 1 p.m., choosing between Missouri and Jacksonville State. So those are like the 2 top options for him. He already has 2 predictions in for Missouri, so Tigers trending in the right direction for what could possibly be their first cornerback commitment in the 2026 class.
Very nice.
That would be
so your bird connection is that he is also considering Jacksonville State.
Yeah, that was a better one than I had, because I had that he beat a bird team last week for his high school team.
Okay.
Yeah, you were right. That's better. Gamecock. Thank you. Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was too locked into the buttons I'm pushing.
That's why you get paid more than us.
Payton, your bird.
My bird of the week is going to be Mitch Morse. If you would indulge me, let me land this bird. Mitch Morse played high school football at St. Michael's Catholic Academy in Austin, Texas. The league that he played in is the TAPS League, or the Athletic Conference, whatever you want to call it. And in that conference, Kenny, the St. Thomas Eagles.
Wow.
I'll
Payton,
add,
you shouldn't have clicked that. That's Kenny's alma mater.
I'll add that I was wearing my St. Thomas cross country sweatshirt today, and for some reason I just took it off and put it away. I got a little heated, but it's cold here. So
I got a little heated.
Yeah,
Not
warm.
angry, actually heated.
I got heated.
You were heated.
Thinking about that second place finish.
And you got a in cross country? You guys?
Yeah, we finished state in state senior year. We finished second.
Oh.
Anyways, Mitch Morse was
Good for
added
you
to
guys.
the SEC Legends class of 2025. He actually did play in the SEC, so this one makes sense. I think like Jeremy Macklin and Chase Daniel were also in the SEC Legends. They did not play in the SEC, so that's a little different. But Mitch Morse did. And of course, there's that famous, awesome photo. It's my favorite photo. I love good offensive lines. And revile bad ones. And that image of him, who are the other ones on it, guys? Help me out. Evan Boehm is on it.
Yeah,
Evan Bain, Connor McGovern.
Connor McGovern's on it. There's one
the
more
one that
NFL guy.
the guy that does he's
There's
a dentist now.
Max Copeland. He's the one guy that didn't
Copeland.
make it.
Yeah.
But there's another league guy, and I'm gonna look it up, but we can move on. Mitch Morse is the left tackle in that image, if I'm not mistaken.
My main bird of the week. Don't give me any runway to land this bird because I don't have one. It's Nate Bargatze. He's going to be the guest picker for Mizzou Vanderbilt. Not a shock. He's a Vanderbilt fan. He is coming to Mizzou though, so there is a Mizzou connection. I believe his tour for his new special or whatever, or he's doing a tour.
Is there a bird connection?
I just said don't
Just
give
said
me a
there wasn't
runway.
one.
I
God.
know, but I was gonna try and drive home the point that you just picked one that is not a bird.
Correct.
He's the second cousin of Ron Bargatze, who's in the Belmont Hall of Fame and was a coach at Vanderbilt at one point too. But I couldn't find a bird connection there. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
That is kind of cool. I didn't know that.
That is fun. Belmont Bruins.
Yep.
Oh, Belmont Birds. Payton, what'd you learn?
Best thing I learned this week. This is kind of big news. Mizzou Gymnastics is moving to Mizzou Arena as its primary venue. They
That
have
definitely deserves this one.
Yeah, they have left the Hearns, which is really shocking. I did not expect this. I mean, the Hearns, I know it's super historic, but to me, it's always just been kind of an eyesore. Just from the outside, I don't think anyone would really dispute that. But still, very shocking to see this. Could be pretty cool for them. I'm not sure how it'll obviously look yet, but
Yeah, that's super exciting news, I think. And yeah, I don't know what the ultimate plan will be for the Hearn space, but I think it's cool. After the season Mizzou Gymnastics had deserved move over to the Mizzou Arena, the friendly confines of Mizzou Arena. Am I allowed to use that for other places, Peyton?
no. But
One of these will
going on?
still be in Hearns. There will still be at least one in Hearns this season.
Okay, so by the way, just interrupting this, Justin Britt is the other one.
Oh
on that.
yeah.
Oh, duh.
And Britt is the left tackle. I'm ashamed we didn't get that. From left to
Yeah.
right, it's Britt, Copeland, Boehm, McGovern, Morse. On the best image in Mizzou history.
Kenny, what'd you learn?
Best thing I learned this week, and that's even funnier because Justin Britt's probably more in the news
we
right now
should've
than
got
any of
that.
them. And Evan Boehm works for the team, so that was Vanderbilt. The Mizzou game will be a sellout, of course. It's a huge game for Vanderbilt, especially the recruiting wise. I keep just seeing tweets left and right of a lot of top athletes and prospects across the country going to this
on
game.
campus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Georgia commit. It's gonna be on campus. Kind of just looked at like at first, he's from Nashville. An opportunity to see his team go to game day after after he goes over film in the morning. But now it's being reported that's an actual visit, not just going as a fan.
That's huge.
Very big. Exciting. It's an exciting game. I mean, don't listen to anyone that says this isn't a big game this weekend and that they'd rather have game day go to a goddamn FCS game.
Yeah. Big flashpoint for both teams. I agree. My best thing I learned this week is that our friend in college basketball coverage, Fran Fraschilla, was at Mizzou. Kind of cool. I tried to make him the main bird, but he had no coaching connections with bird teams. So I instead just picked someone who also had no connections with any bird. So there you go. But Fran Fraschilla was at Mizzou. They let him in on practice. I know he had a tweet about Sean Phillips and his height. He says here that Mizzou might be the tallest team in the country. And kind of funny, there's a photo, you pointed it out, Payton. They're watching the March Madness game between Memphis and Colorado State on the TV in one of his tweets, which I think is kind of funny. And you also well pointed out, Payton, that's probably to watch PJ Haggerty, who of course is on Kansas State, who will be playing against Mizzou on Friday when they scrimmage. So a little bit of film study on Mr. Haggerty. I once watched PJ Haggerty commit 13 fouls in a basketball game. That's my fun fact about him.
Very nice. I hope you guys are ready for the 30-minute breakdown of the exhibition we do on Sunday.
Yeah. We're talking
forgot about that.
exhibition. We're certainly talking exhibition.
Look at the details on that.
30
9 p.m. Friday, Kansas State.
Yes, it's on SEC Network, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
We'll definitely watch the highlights of that and tune in. I like the Antlers being there to practice for free throw.
I was going to say there was that, and then that Sean Phillips, who misspelled Sean, but it's natural. I mean, he probably heard it said out loud, but Sean Phillips stood out to Fran Fraschilla, which is interesting.
I like.
Stood out to Payton too.
What?
He stood out to Payton too.
Oh, I thought you said shout
right,
out
because
Payton.
he was just actually very tall, and I said. Hi, Sean Phillips at the homecoming day parade, and he acknowledged that I said that.
Nice.
You asked about Jaspers coming into the show, Jack. You asked about Jaspers coming into the show. Fran used to be the head coach at Manhattan.
Isn't that why he asked?
That's why I said that.
Oh. I didn't even know why you asked it. I thought it was something else.
I'm a Sean. I'm buying my investment on Sean Phillips Island this year. I like Sean Phillips. I think he's gonna have a good season. All right, Payton, you have a submitted joke for us.
We have our bets.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
Goodness gracious, Jack.
Our friendly neighborhood segment, best beats of the week. Shout out to FanDuel. We have our NFL lines. Kenny, quick sum up how we did last week.
Only you got one right, Jack. You were Cowboys plus 1.5. I had Texans plus 3.5. Of course, it did not hit. And then, oh boy, Payton. That's 3 in a row. Payton, Dolphins plus 2.5, and that was not close whatsoever. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what were you thinking there, man? Mike McDaniel?
It was close.
Wasn't it like 30-6?
Anyways, this week I've got this week I feel like we need to address the emotion involved with this pick. I'm taking Broncos minus 3.5 over the Cowboys because there's no way Sean Payton is letting himself lose that game after what happened this past week. If you didn't see it, Sean Payton had the quote about how he kind of wished there was a QB change, like the Giants QB change happened after they played the Broncos, after the Broncos put up 33 in the fourth quarter for the comeback win. Russell Wilson uncharacteristically took to Twitter, and if you're familiar with Russell Wilson just in general, he is not a very, I would say, confrontational guy, but he took a blowtorch to Sean Payton. He tweeted, "Classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 years later through the media. Hashtag let's ride." There were a couple emojis in there too. Very shocking. I mean, it kind of didn't seem like they got along when they were in Denver in general. Just more fuel to the fire. I think Sean Payton kind of walked his comments back. He said like it wasn't meant to be a shot at Russ, but come on. But I do think Sean Payton is the type of coach to not let himself lose after getting into a snafu like that.
He's had a crazy year so far. I don't know if you guys saw the story too about how he made the bus driver like drive through a certain part of Philadelphia after they beat the Eagles.
Yep.
Kind of like a little victory run. Justin Britt bringing him back up again. He got on Instagram and was pretty supportive of Russ after this as well. Of course, former teammates in Seattle.
Love you, Justin Britt.
I'm going to stick in the NFL world for my bet as well. I texted good pal Zach Hernandez before I came on here. My roommate Aaron Borozik brought up a good question. Why hasn't she and Zach Hernandez been back on the show? And I told her both of them are banned. But I asked Zach for help on this bet because it was Texans 49ers in Houston on Saturday. Texans coming off a pretty brutal loss, pretty brutal offensive showing too against the Seattle Seahawks, another Seattle connection. And I originally had Texans minus 1.5 here, but I'm going to switch it to 49ers plus 1.5. This is the first time I'm not taking the Texans since week 2.
I don't blame you for that, Kenny. That was a game that made, I think, everyone watching mad. I, as a Seattle fan, was getting very annoyed how many chances they kept giving the Texans. But that offense looks just destroyed. CJ Stroud was not having a lot of fun. Payton, I'm going to say this to you now. I don't mean this as a diss against your team for my pick this week, but I am actually going to pick the Ravens as 6.5-point favorites over the Bears. Lamar's coming back this week. I think the Bears have a very favorable run of games coming up after this. I think they need to get this one out of the way. I think the Ravens are going to be super angry. They need to win this game to kind of stabilize and refocus their season. So I'm sorry, Payton. I probably was going to pick them against whoever they played, but I'm going to take the Ravens this week over your Bears.
What's the line?
6.5.
I'm not a Bears fan, so not sure what you're apologizing to me for.
Okay.
Also, I will say I read the exact quote from Sean Payton again. He said, quote, "They found a little spark with that quarterback. I was talking to John Mara not too long ago, and I said we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game." So I guess there is a window for him to have walked that back to where he could say, I kind of agree it's a little flimsy, but he could have been like, well, in an ideal world, Russ would have started like the whole year or something. So, but here, like you said, Jack, by the way, before we sign
Why
off,
are you not a Bears fan now? Why are you not? Your team is good, man.
This joke does not come from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. This joke comes courtesy via fan submission. It comes from possibly our biggest fan, Grandma Clara. Grandma Clara, thank you for the joke. Here's the joke, guys. Why do potatoes make good detectives?
Why do potatoes make good potatoes? Okay, Kenny, we actually got to get this one.
It's something to do with spuds, isn't it?
Wrong.
Wait, don't say it.
I've got to ask. I forgot to ask Grandma.
Think about kinds of potatoes, Kenny. You got like peeled potatoes, baked potatoes.
No, you got to get
Mashed
potatoes, French fries, waffle fries. Man, oh, this is bad.
I'll give you the
Wait, can you say
punchline
it again?
word.
Can you say it
The
again?
punchline word has been said by one of you.
I just said all
why
the
do
potato form.
Why do potatoes make good detectives? Again, via fan submission, Grandma Clara, our biggest fan, long tenured fan.
Oh. They mash the criminals.
Any guesses, Kenny? Because that's not even good.
No.
Why do potatoes make good detectives? Because they keep their eyes peeled.
No, you were right, Jack.
Yeah. It was like it's some kind of the way the potato is orchestrated.
Man, I can't believe we dropped
Yeah, there you go.
Tough.
Pretty clever, right?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right.
Thank my grandma for the joke.
Thank you, Grandma Clara, for the joke.
Thank you, Grandma Clara. Thank you for all the comments as well. We do appreciate it. Shout out Mitch Morse again. I forgot to mention. I did talk to him when he was with the Bills when he came back to play the Chiefs in 2019. Good guy. He's a good true son. Maybe they'll bring him back and have him bang Big Mo soon.
What is that? What's your apex mountain between that and the Zion Young post? Because you brought both those things up several times.
I guess if we're talking about defensive line posts too, I think my apex mountain might be the Darius Robinson one.
That's what I meant. I said Zion Young. I meant Darius Robinson. Sorry, that's what I meant.
And then I would say that's it.
That one.
You saved Missouri football, Kenny. Thank you.
You did.
Indirectly.
You did. We'll quote tweet it again at some point. All right, that'll do it for the show. Thank you to FanDuel. Big game this weekend. We will recap it, and we will see you next time.